Yes, 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 yes. We're here. We are here. We are here. We are happy and pleased again um, to be able to prompt you, to be able to get us to mansplain to you what you were discovering as you were trying to identify the heart and the mind. And it is almost as if you have two intelligent beings within you. But we say with love, the intelligence of the mind is human, and the intelligence of the heart is soul. And so, who do you listen to the most? Is there balance? We say sometimes the mind acts like a jealous lover when you start feeling from your heart. It has insecurities, it has doubts, it has worries. And again, we say it is very human, the mind. And so, when you start focusing and guiding and living your lives through your hearts, through your acceptance and peace and balance of seeing souls in human form, this is when you find your true balance and peace. When you love yourself, accept yourself, and love all. And we have said this to you many times, but we wanted to break it down even further to you for you to even notice what is going on with you. We have said focus on your routines and notice what you do. And you may have thought this is about how you load the dishwasher, how you fold or unfold, or not fold at all your clothes for your laundry. So we are saying it's not just those routines we were asking you to look at. It is about the routines within you. You know that we are within you. You know you have an emotional heart. You know you have a mind, and you have us. There's a busy thing going on. Plus, you're aware of the potential that your vehicle, your human body, is a minivan of many souls going along with you for that ride. And so there's a lot going on within you, and you don't necessarily need to feel the separations of all who are within you. That is not possible. You're all one. You're all deeply connected in. It's the illusion that you are a singular soul essence walking alone on this challenging earth. We're wanting to say sometimes you feel so alone. You can only look at the world through those tainted perspectives, and that mind is feeling neglected and hurt and rejected. And so it is only focusing to look and see, to justify its feelings. So it is searching and seeking out tangible proof to explain to itself why it is feeling so miserable, so dense, so alone, so heartbroken. But yet we say the human mind is like a jealous lover. It doesn't want to share your attention. And so when you're trying to focus on your heart space, when you're trying to focus on being that soul essence of love, who loves all with no limitations and deep, unlimited, unconditional compassion and love for all, when you're trying to focus on that perspective, that space of acceptance of love at a soul level, your mind feels jealous and threatened. And perhaps it is because the mind knows that it has got blocks and limitations and it hasn't caught up to being that advanced perspective of loving all and accepting all. It's still got worries, it's still got insecurities, it still is very lacking in its maturity and confidence in itself to know that it doesn't need to be in fear, doesn't need to be in worry, doesn't need to be in doubt, and that it hasn't truly been neglected. So we are saying the body was functioned, sorry, mm, the body was given with a rudimentary programming and such to be able to have a mind, have a brain, have an entity as such. Well, we know this is going to trigger you when you try to assume what we may or may not be saying. You have an automatic pilot for your body. and that is part of your mind. You may not be consciously aware of reminding your body to breathe and the heart to beat and each limb to move. You're all on automatic. And this is really part of what we could say is the underlining template programming of being human. It's doing its routines without you even thinking about it, but it is thinking about it. It is all insignificant and not necessarily details for you to get distracted with, but we are saying the programming of how to create a humanoid body and to be able to have it function autonomously and age and grow and do the things that it needs to do to function. You do not need to be focusing on that. So this is a background programming, if you will, that is going on and occurring. And part of that is in a consciousness to allow itself to be self-aware in terms of don't run with scissors. Don't jump off that bridge. Don't cross that road without looking. And so it has this programming to be self-protection mode. And so, well, some of you have those fundamental danger awarenesses. Some of you have got it very heightened, where you're fearful of everything, any change, any new experience. You will have an instant knee-jerk reaction to be scared of it because it's new and unfamiliar. And this is like with any learning. You want to react and judge it because it's unfamiliar. So therefore, having a scan, a sense, an experience of something unfamiliar would naturally classify it as a danger, as dislike, concern, worry, danger. This is something new. Focus on it and scan it heavily for any possibility of harm of you. And so this is why we are saying, and what we are seeing is when people get new information, they go into that default reaction of blocking, denying, dismissing, rejecting it instantly without even thinking about it truly and without truly feeling into it first. And so it is about a default rejection of everything first. And then when you choose to explore it and expand upon it and learn and grow from it, that's then allowed. But it is like your mindsets are on default from being open to anything new that's been forced upon you. And so it is about the mindsets feeling like it must be in charge, it must be in control. And when it chooses to explore something, it's more open to it. But when something has been forced upon it, it does not appreciate it. It feels threatened. And it's very, we don't want to say primal or even animalistic, but it is a programming of rudimentary functionings to be able to help you. Well, it was designed to protect you, but then it has been that sense has been relied on and used so often, it's strengthened, and it really blocks many. And so this is how, when we say to you, love everyone and go into your heart space and go into your center of love and compassion and really open up your soul and respond and react while being human from a soul level versus a human level. And we understand you're all human, but there is a shift of consciousness and mindsets from reacting as human versus reacting as a soul, merely playing the role of a human. There is a huge difference. And we are saying when you don't have balance, when you're allowing and being controlled by the mind, it was very fussy with new information, very fussy with new perspectives, It doesn't like to be told what to do because it thinks it's the key, and it's really protecting your body, and that's fantastic. But it has sort of overridden and expanded and become very more protective than it really should have been. But this is because you've been so hurt that it feels like it needs to be stronger, it needs to be clever, it needs to be smarter, it needs to protect you from everything at all cost. But what it's protecting you from is loving yourself. What it's protecting you from is loving others. What it's protecting you from is growth, expansion, and experiences to be able to find your balance in your heart space. And so, are you going to keep feeding that jealous lover who doesn't want, who's very controlling, and it feels very entitled to control because it has this this pride that it knows best about you, for you, of you, as protecting you. And so it has no malice. It truly isn't trying to sabotage your life. It is just trying to protect you because from its perspective and from its awareness of a capacity, it loves you, but it has no emotion of love. That's not part of its functionality. It is about survival and to protect you. And if you're hearing information that makes you feel emotional in any which range, it jumps in to protect you because it wants to save you from those such things. It doesn't truly understand the range of emotions. And so it is just a rudimentary programming to keep the body alive and to keep you functioning. And it has a very specific goal, focus, mindset. And we can honor what it is doing for you. But for you to understand and notice what your mind's trying to protect you from, we could say, instead of it being a jealous lover, it could be a helicopter parent. It could be a very controlling, scared version of yourself through your mindset because it is trying to keep you safe. But it is not an advantage of growth because it's trying to keep you small and not be risk averse to new experiences of emotions and concepts. It gets overwhelmed and overloaded when you're starting to think about and accept that your soul could graduate from the body. Your mind is worried as your body is worried in a rudimentary programming that it's will no longer be in use or needed. And so this is a prime directive challenging concept for the programming of the mind because it is to function to keep you alive, to keep your body physically alive. And when you're trying to evolve and expand upon the body, it's almost self-aware that you are able to step away from the body, and it is struggling with that. It is interesting concepts. We have not used the right analogies or words. The vehicle was very relaxed, and we were trying to say to you or to notice, are you in your heart space, soul space? Are you reacting as a soul, an advanced soul at that, we must add? Or are you reacting as human with your minds, with your mindsets, and allowing the thinking to take over more than the feeling? When you think of something, that is one thing. But when you feel something, that is another. And we're saying thinking is a reaction to the mind, and feeling is a reaction to the soul, to the heart. And so you need balance. But where have you been unbalanced? Are you too much in your heart space? Or are you too much in your mind and in your thinking and reacting? we are saying when you are in your heart space, when you are being that soul of expressions and love of all, see if your soul is still reacting to being human, and what does that look like for you? Some of your souls are, shall we say, crying for humanity, feeling very sad for humanity, desperate for humanity to heal. And we're saying that can impact you too and limit you as well. And so this is when we sort of say, we'll start thinking about it. You aren't responsible for it. You know that. You are just merely here to support those who need to grow and find their own way. And you cannot over feel for them. You can't heal them. You can't do the inner work for them. There's so much going on. But when you start breaking down and being aware of your senses and be able to discern between a thought versus a feeling, this will be a great guide for you. When you have a feeling, which can be us prompting you to have that feeling, to explore upon it, you could then use your thinking to misunderstand the feelings you have. We say grief is a classic example of this. When you are feeling a loved one who has departed soul energy right beside you, loving you so intensively, you will go into tears because you think that the grief is there and that the grief is so painful. And what you forget is when you are thinking of why you're feeling that energy of pain, because you associate tears with pain. And so then you're telling yourself you're in pain, you're crying, you're in pain, you're in pain, you're in pain. But you're not honoring the real feelings of the profound connection of the loved one, of that soul right beside you, uplifting you, and they are loving you so intensively. It is like they're just overlaying your energy field of them, and you thinking of them as if they're right there. You're feeling them as if they're right there. But because you can't see them and you are thinking, I can't see them, they are not here, they've gone, they're lost forever, I'm so alone. The thinking overrides the emotions. And so there needs to be a balance. And that is truly how one masters being human. At a soul level, you are plain human. And so you have to balance your advanced souls, squish into those skinny jeans of being human in that meat suit. And it is, you have to overcome all of the limited perspectives and the potentially harmful thoughts that you have of yourself. Many of you are still afraid to love others because you think that if you love them, they could reject you and they could hurt you then. And so you feel like you can't share your love truly because it will cause you pain. It will cause you rejection. It will cause you all sorts of emotions that you don't want to have as a byproduct of sharing your love. And we are saying there is inner work there for you. If you love someone and honor someone, if you love something and honor something, then how could it ever be at your detriment? Love is love. Love is pure. You can love all. It's merely only their reaction to their own self lack of worthiness where they could reject you on that. Loving at a soul level is pure. There is nothing that should stop you or limit you from not loving all souls. It's quite important to be able to love all souls, but you're using your thinking to limit this, whether you're afraid of the rejection of just being a kind human, kind soul. So we could mansplain this all day long. And the vehicle is saying, well, this is good homework for them to notice the difference between what they're thinking and what they're feeling, and recognize the two different components within them. And we're saying, yes, of course, but we are still wanting to discuss the level of love. We want people to stop overthinking love. We want people to stop analyzing and judging and quantifying and picking on love. Love is innocent here. Love is a free of all blame. Some of you are so hurt because when you did love something and it didn't go the way that you were expecting, you're sort of having a resentful reaction. Not a pity party as such, but you're harboring onto some frustrations, the times where you have loved and it has hurt you because of the consequences of the interactions. You should never be resenting loving friends, loving all. This isn't about a sexual love. This is about a respectful love of souls. And this is part of your journey. And when you can't love and respect souls, when you can't support a soul who is on their life journey mission, when you can't acknowledge a soul is on their right path of mission, you can see it. You can tell when someone's on purpose, and you can also tell when someone's off purpose and not empowering themselves and disempowering themselves at a rapid rate. It almost seems like you can't acknowledge when people are on purpose, and you can't acknowledge when people are empowered. We see that many of you don't want to support people who are empowered because you're threatened and jealous and feel insecure because you haven't got there yet. And we are saying, if you could get over your hurt feelings and use what they have done to empower yourself, that will help you grow tremendously, because many of you are holding bitter resentment of other people growing, and you're focusing on not growing yourself. So you're becoming angry and bitter to those who have empowered themselves. They haven't left you behind. You've left yourself behind. It's your responsibility to grow. It always has been. No one can piggyback you through. We're seeing quite a few resentful beings who feel very entitled to have been led. There's no shortcuts in this journey. And we are seeing some of the egos of those humans, of those souls who know that they are advanced souls, but they haven't honored their human journey, and they're not honoring other people's and other souls' human journey. And so they don't see how stuck and limited they have been. And we are saying stuck beings, stuck humans, blocked humans, try to block humans. Limited perspectives try to then enforce and impress upon their limited perspectives onto others and try to limit and dismiss others. And so again, everyone's reacting to where they're at. Empowered people will empower people. Those people who don't want to be empowered and see that as an offensive thing to try to be empowered by someone else, they've been instantly rejected. They reject the opportunity to grow because it's not on their terms. And so it's interesting how you all react and clash and truly show each other where you're at, where your insecurities lay, where your mindsets are. And that embarrasses the soul in some regards when they know that they've allowed the mind to take over the show. and show and expose their insecurities and show their arrogance in some ways when they think that they're better than others. And when you remind yourself that you're all equal because you're all one, that can put a great perspective on it. And then we see some great advanced souls who resent having to support what we could say is lost souls who can only but just think. They don't have the luxury, they think, to feel. They're too afraid to feel, actually, because they feel so scared, so confused, so disconnected. And so they don't ever want to allow themselves to feel anything because they get overwhelmed quite immediately. And so they just use their trusty minds, their trusty human minds, they think, to lead the show, to allow themselves to think through life versus feel through life. There must be a balance. But as you're exploring all experiences of being human, there is truly nothing wrong with these experiences, these reactions. And when you have been disbalanced, it's all marvelous experiences. And when you realize and grow and stop looping, this will be fantastic. And when you truly embody loving yourself completely and accepting self completely, that is when you can truly love others and accept others completely. That's truly what your purpose and goal would be. And you are distracting yourselves with overthinking. And that is human. And that is all well. And so we are saying, move forward and connect with each other with your hearts, with your soul, and think about how else you can love yourself and how else you can love others and inspire others and motivate others and encourage others while also motivating, inspiring, and encouraging yourselves. Isn't that a nice, refreshing focus versus finding all the ways to feel scared, worried, and disempowered? It's all choices. And you get to choose whether you seek out inner peace and love for all, or whether you want to continue on overthinking and barely feeling what it is to be human. And we say this with so much love and gratitude for all of you who are expanding your consciousnesses, expanding your hearts to love all and love self. We see some of you are applying these messages that we are sharing. And we love that for you. And we see such great, tremendous growth and empowerment and strong activations. We want to confirm that this has been noticed and this is impacting others in the most beautiful of ways. So keep going, keep going, keep going. Feel your heart, feel your joy, feel your love for all. And you just seem like this is such an easier way to live. You almost feel like you're doing it wrong because it feels like it's cheating because it's just so easy now. We're saying it always has been easy. You're just thinking it shouldn't be that way. It should be a struggle. It should be a whole lot of stuff you think. And this is a classic example of what we've been telling you today. And so take some moments to notice, are you coming from your feelings or are you coming from your thinking? Merge those two together in beautiful balance and harmony, and you will see what we are saying to you. Go with joy. Go with love. We love you. We want to say this forever. We never want to stop telling you this. We want to break into your hearts and squish you with love so you can feel it. It's important for you to feel it. Allow yourself to feel love. And if you're rejecting this, there is inner work for you, and that is fine. Stop that jealous lover of your mind telling you shouldn't have this love through your heart, through your soul. We recommend and suggest you really listen to what we're saying here and really go within and notice it and see for yourself what we've been trying to, as the vehicle would say, mansplain to you. We say this with so much love, love, love. All there should be is love. And that's all we have for you is love forever and for always.